All right, welcome back to the channel. So, good news in the sport of boxing from my perspective. Derrick James, who is the coach of Errol Spence Jr. and Jermell Charlo, has won the WBA Trainer of the Year. And if what I'm seeing on Twitter is true, is still in the running to win the WBC Trainer of the Year. How great would it be that if two true commissions could correct the mistakes of media? Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Derrick James wins Trainer of the Year. And I am sitting here not surprised. I don't even know how to say it. I'm not surprised that I'm sitting here that he's Trainer of the Year, saying that he's been given Trainer of the Year or named Trainer of the Year by a respectable boxing organization, right? Because he clearly deserved it last year. Derrick James, has had two fighters, both of which, in my opinion, are top 10, actually, let me not even do that. Let me do something that's concrete. Two fighters that are both the #1 fighters in their division, and both of their divisions are stacked. Okay, lay down the pound for pound stuff, which is completely hypothetical for a second, and look at the actual sanctioning bodies and say Jermell Charlo at 154 pounds this year answered without a doubt that he was the best 154 pounder in the world. At 147 pounds, Errol Spence Jr. proved that that car accident did not defeat him. He also showed that he had the skill and the grit and the determination and the know-how to overcome his what injuries he had, because he did have injuries. He just didn't have career-ending injuries. But his coach, who, according to his coach, was with him, close to him from the very beginning of the accident, worked with him for a year to get him to the point where he could beat a candidate. See, I got to say this when you guys want to steal intellectual property and take clips and stuff and then troll out, right? He is not an actual Hall of Famer, Danny Garcia, because Danny Garcia is still fighting. But I think it's fair that he would be nominated at a point, because he was without a doubt the man at 140 pounds at a point in time. And he's also a champion at 147, and he's given us great fights in both weight classes. When we talk about, Arturo Gatti and the excitement of Arturo Gatti and all that, Danny Garcia deserves that type of credit because he put on exciting fights with Sean Porter, Errol Spence, Keith Thurman, Amir Khan, Lucas Matisse, Zab Judah. I do believe he fought El Terrible. He deserves all that credit. And Errol Spence got out of a car accident, jumped out there, and with the help of Derrick James, kept his belts, both the WBC and the IBF. Not, however, the WBA, which sits with Manny Pacquiao, which is why Derrick James could not have gotten Trainer of the Year for doing that, for doing Errol Spence Jr., because Errol Spence Jr. is not a WBA champion, isn't ranked in the WBA. That champion goes by the name of Manny Pacquiao. Errol's only the WBC and the IBF champ. So why would the WBA be giving it to Derrick James? Well, the WBA is the belt of Jermell Charlo, at 154 pounds as the unified champion. So I guess the WBA thought, right, who, by the way, had two unified champions, multiple people with the WBA to choose from. Canelo had the WBA with Eddie Reynoso, right, at 160, and I do believe fought for it in last year against Callum Smith. right? WBA did not give it to Eddie Reynoso. The WBA also had Teofimo Lopez that won their belt off Vasily Lomachenko. They did not give that to Teofimo Lopez Sr. Didn't give it to him. Gave it to Derrick James. And I am extremely happy that they did that because it makes it seem like boxing makes some sense. Okay? Because that is a lot to achieve in a year. And like I said, I'm not surprised that I'm sitting here happy that he won because, you know, it's I should have been happy when it's like Ring Magazine, but I knew it would never be Ring Magazine. It wasn't going to be ESPN. Well, at least it's the WBA. I doubt very much it's the WBC, but Derrick James definitely does have out there, I think something about call the WBC and let them know, right? Now, does that mean that all is right in the world because he got an award? Absolutely, positively not. But I think that the WBC is doing something that is, that is without a doubt honorable, because they could have easily taken the route where they just looked and said, okay, well, what kind of what are the fans going to say, right? Or the media. You get my point, man. It just, to me, the WBA, I just cut to the chase because I'm trying not to blast the WBC. Like, I'm just trying not to blast the WBC. If you see me struggling in this, it's because, man, how did I say this without blasting the WBC? The fact that the WBC didn't give this man Trainer of the Year is ridiculous, because both Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford are both, Errol Spence Jr. and Jermell Charlo are both WBC champions. And they knew what happened with that car accident, and they know that that fight, they just know it, man. But WBC just doesn't seem this year to be able to do those type of things. Like, for example, with Tyson Fury and this stuff that's going on with Tyson Fury, I got to tell you, man, the WBC actually, I was very, very close to saying, man, good job. And I'm thinking maybe that they are, because they said, hey, we're going to have to know pretty soon what's going on with what's going on with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, and what Tyson Fury is going to do as far as defending his belt, right? Actually said something to me out there that didn't sound like it was completely in the bag for Tyson Fury, like some things that I'd heard in the past. So, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just old and I'm constantly thinking like, man, no, I am old, but, I try not to be overly pessimistic, man. I do believe that if we continue to talk about problems in boxing, even if you don't agree with me and there may be something that I'm wrong about, that over time, I'm not going to be wrong about everything. You're not going to be wrong about everything. And as long as we continue to have a dialogue, but we have the dialogue like for real, like in the middle of the street where like everybody can see it, and there's no, let me hide this and hide that. It's all that skullduggery, dude, that's completely unnecessary, I think, in the sport of boxing, because we have the best product. We have the best product of any sport. Easy. If you look at any highlight reel from any other sport, dude, there is no dunk in the basketball that is going to be like a Deontay Wilder knockout. It's just not the case, man. At least that's the way that I believe it, man. But, I don't really know if the powers that be in boxing really believe in the sport of boxing, where they believe that, man, we can take our chances with actually just letting the best fighters beat the best fighters. And, hey, man, let's see where the chips fall, And we sit in a situation where most of the bills are being paid for the network by the networks anyway. So I really don't even see what the holdup is in it. It's got to be. It is definitely something deeper than that. But I hope we can get past it. And, the long story short of it is that the WBC saying anything that was halfway positive about Deontay Wilder and the treatment of Deontay Wilder, I appreciated that. And the WBA getting this award to Derrick James, I don't work for Derrick James. None of that. But I do see the excellent work that man put down, man. I've seen it firsthand, watching his fights. I've been fortunate enough to be on a panel with him and heard his approach to the sport of boxing. And it's just, that is a guy that if my son was a boxer, I know I would be like, man, Derrick, will you look after him? Will you teach him how to fight so he does not get hurt in his ring and he can be effective? because I've listened to him talk about what it took to build a fighter from scratch. And I've also listened to him talk about what it takes to take a champion that's already built and help him grow. But the methodology that he used is one that is organic and one that works for fighters that may or may not have tremendous egos. At the same time, a need for structure and guidance. But that's my take on the matter. Congratulations to Derrick James. And with that, I'm out. Peace.